Welcome to Mr. Boogeyman, where every story is a journey into the unknown. If you enjoy the thrill of the eerie and unexplained, consider subscribing for more chilling tales. The dense fog clung to the lake like a shroud, obscuring the world beyond the warped wooden dock. The old lakehouse loomed above, its once vibrant colors now faded to a weary gray. Alex stepped out of her car and took a deep breath, the chill air biting at her lungs. The sound of waves lapping against the shore seemed to echo her own nervous heartbeat. She was the first to arrive, as always. Alex had orchestrated this reunion with meticulous precision, hoping to reignite old friendships, and maybe, just maybe, lay the past to rest. 20 years since graduation, and the memories still clung to her like the fog on this cold morning. Sarah's car pulled up next, bright against the gloom. She emerged with a wide smile, arms outstretched as if to hug the world itself.
"Alex!"
she called out. Her cheerful demeanor, though infectious, had always felt like a thin veneer over something more fragile.
"Hey, Sarah,"
Alex replied. They embraced, a little awkwardly. It had been a long time since they had been this close. The others arrived in quick succession. Mike, still broad-shouldered and strong, gave Alex a bear hug. Emily slipped out of her car quietly, her presence almost ethereal, while Chris bounded out with a laugh and a joke, eager to lighten the mood. Once they were all there, the air buzzed with nervous energy. Boring, casting flickering shadows that danced across the walls. That first night things felt almost normal. Dinner was a cacophony of chatter, laughter, and clinking cutlery. Chris, with his endless supply of jokes, kept the atmosphere light, while Sarah played the perfect host, topping off wine glasses and steering conversations away from any painful memories. Yet as the night wore on, the joviality began to wane, replaced by a creeping unease. Strange noises drifted in from the lake, the groan of wood settling, the whispering of trees in the wind. Shadows seemed to stretch longer than they should, curling around corners and flickering just out of sight. Ethan was quieter than the rest, his gaze often lingering on each of them. He moved with a strange, unpredictable energy, his presence both unsettling and intriguing. He had always been the center of attention back in school. But now, he seemed content to lurk on the periphery, watching. It was Emily who first mentioned the noise.
Did anyone else hear that?
She asked, her voice barely rising above the crackle of the fire.
Hear what?
Mike asked, though the sharpness in his voice betrayed his own apprehension.
Just noises from outside.
Probably just the wind.
Chris offered with a shaky grin. But they all knew it wasn't just the wind. The next morning dawned with an oppressive heaviness in the air, the fog thicker than before, clinging to every surface. The group gathered in the living room, bleary-eyed and silent, the air between them charged with unspoken fears. It was Ethan who broke the silence.
"I've been thinking,"
he began, his voice low and steady.
"about what happened back then, about the prank."
The room went still, every eye on him.
"You all thought it was funny, locking me in that storage room, leaving me there. But it wasn't. It was cruel. And it went wrong."
Memories flashed in Alex's mind, fragmented and sharp. The laughter, the shouts, the way they had all run off, leaving Ethan behind. It had been a joke, a stupid, thoughtless joke. But it had changed everything.
"I was disfigured.
Ethan continued, his voice rising.
You ruined my life. You left me to take the fall."
The anger in his voice was palpable, a living thing that clawed at the edges of the room. And in that moment, they all felt it. The guilt, the shame, the fear.
"I spent years in
reality that chilled them to their cores. He stood at the end of the hall, a dark silhouette framed by lightning. Their plan was simple, born of desperation: lure him in, catch him off guard. They moved as one, fear and adrenaline propelling them forward. In the ensuing chaos, the world became a blur of movement and sound. Ethan fought with a ferocity born of years of rage, his strength formidable. But the group fought back with equal vigor, driven by a collective will to survive. They cornered him in the main hall, their breaths mingling in the air, a testament to their shared terror. Ethan's eyes were wild, his face a mask of fury. And then in the final moment, Mike, wounded but still standing, made the ultimate sacrifice. With a cry, he hurled himself at Ethan, knocking him off balance and giving the others a chance. Chris tackled Ethan, the two of them crashing through a window, vanishing into the storm beyond. The storm passed, leaving behind a broken, battered house and 4 survivors. They stood in the quiet aftermath, the air heavy with loss and guilt. Mike lay still, his sacrifice a bittersweet victory. His absence was a wound that would never fully heal. The remaining friends emerged from the ordeal changed, each of them marked by the events at the lakehouse. They had confronted their past and survived. But some ghosts never die, and as they left the house behind, they carried with them the knowledge that the scars of that night would haunt them forever. Ethan's body was never found, swallowed by the lake in the darkness, and though they tried to move on, to leave the horror behind, the memory of his laughter would linger, a reminder of the darkness that dwells in the human heart.